you could eat the healthiest, beautiful apple grown on the most pristine organic orchard in the most beautiful part of the world by the most beautiful person, the most beautiful spiritual person who has prayed to this apple tree every year for 25 years. I'm Heather Grzych, and this is the Wisdom of the Body podcast. This podcast explores the idea of body intelligence as the real key to learning the knowledge of life, or what we call Ayurveda in the ancient language of Sanskrit. We do that by connecting with today's creative leaders and experts who will help you listen to your body, trust your gut, and live in deeper harmony with nature. Come join me as we unlock the golden door to clear, direct perception and become very deep listeners. You can find the Wisdom of the Body podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also follow us by joining my email at heathergrzych.com or on Instagram at heathergrzych. I know you're going to love this podcast, so take a second right now to subscribe. I'm going to start today by telling you a little story. My partner went out this morning and picked up a coffee from Pete's, a decaf almond latte for me. And it came back in the plastic and paper cup thing. And I'm very much an anti-plastic feeling person. And I got him, because he was the one going out all the time and getting coffee, I did purchase for him a glass cup that he could take because he liked to go out and get those things. Except I never got one for myself. So he was getting both of us one, and mine came back in the bad cup. And I was like, and I poured it in this lovely glass mug that I'm drinking out of right now. And I realized that I don't share a lot with people my anti-plastic feeling, and it's very strong. It's a very strong feeling that I have, and it's actually something that, like, I've had just, really to the point of tears kind of feelings about plastic and what's happened to the planet with plastics and how crazy and how far it's gone and how difficult it seems to reverse of a problem, right? So you think about, like, when a body gets unhealthy, the longer a disease process has gone on, the harder it is to reverse it, or the more drastic of a disease process, the harder it is to reverse it. And so I think when it comes to, like, environmental issues that affect us, I don't talk about them because I feel like it's a downer. Frankly, I don't want to, like, walk around depressing people all the time. And so I was like, okay, well, let me think more about what is it that I'm for? Like, rather than what is this thing that's making me unhappy or uncomfortable, so let's flip it, right? And this is the yogic practice of pratipaksha bhavana, turning a negative into a positive. So not that plastic is okay. I'm not going to make it okay. But what I am going to say is that what I am for is healthy planet. What I am for is healthy people. And part of that is being able to digest and assimilate and utilize the materials and the environment that you consume for your body to have its most beautiful and wonderful qualities. When it's done digesting, that it all turns into something beautiful and wonderful for your body to utilize. And that now this finished product that's used these materials from the outside world, it's something that you're really proud of. It's something that you love. It's something that feels good. You love to look at it. You love to feel it. You love how it turned out. And so that's really the only issue I have with any material that is not great for human health. That's the only issue. Now, there are some things we can do about, when there are toxins in our environment, there are some things that we can do about it. And, a toxin could be that, or a toxin could be like a jerk who's in your environment or a family member who's not nice to you, or, anything that feels toxic, anything that gets held in our body that doesn't get utilized and turned into a good tissue in our body or anything that clogs our body, anything that causes inflammation, anything that causes erosion, anything that causes an abnormal, non-optimal state of tissue in your body, including food that you don't digest well. Like, you could eat the healthiest, beautiful apple grown on the most pristine organic orchard in the most beautiful part of the world by the most beautiful person, the most beautiful spiritual person who has prayed to this apple tree every year for 25 years. You could eat that beautiful apple. You could eat it and you could still digest it like shit. You could still digest it like shit. And then that could turn into a toxin. So I want to give reverence to that beautiful apple, and I want to give reverence to the body, but we have to make sure they're like a perfect match at the right time. And then that is what creates the beauty, the overall beauty of that combination. So the question is, I wanted to challenge everybody with today is, do you talk about what you love? Like, do you talk about what you love? We all complain. I do it all the time. But do you also talk about what you love? And the question is, if this answer that came to you is, oh, no, or not all the time, or sometimes, then I would say, well, the next question is, why don't you? Why don't you talk about what you love? Or why don't you talk about what you love more? And then there are different reasons that we might not talk about, like the example that I gave earlier. I don't want to make people like depressed by talking about what I really love, because the angle that I'm coming at it at is like a negative one, right? So I figured out a way to talk about it in a different way. What I really love at the core is not hating plastic. What I really love at the core is I love a healthy earth. I love healthy people. And I love a healthy earth because I love healthy people. Let's get this straight. I love people probably more than earth, but I love earth because earth is also part of us, right? And it's where we get everything that we need to be people, So I would ask if you're potentially like me, are you afraid to make people feel something specific? If there's something that you love that you don't talk about, is there something that, like my example, I'm afraid to make people depressed? Or sometimes people don't talk about what they love because they're actually afraid of what other people are going to think of them. If they think, I definitely have experienced this where it feels like what I love is so different than what other people love that they're going to think I'm weird. And they're going to judge me, or they're going to not love me, or they're not going to appreciate me or accept me or something like that. I've definitely felt that way. And then some people don't talk about what they love because they really don't know what they love. And that does take work, just by looking at that one thing that I was complaining about or that I don't like. If I flip it, I can see what I do love. So if you have a tendency to be a little bit more focused on the negative, which I think I can sometimes, you may not know what you love. You may not be like really fully aware of it. And maybe it changes too. It changes through time what you love. So it's a good idea to, as part of your meditation practice, as part of your journaling, discussions with people, when you're having a discussion with somebody and you notice you're kind of speaking negatively about something or you're complaining about something, you could just play this game with yourself of, okay, I noticed I did that. So what's on the other side of that? What's on the other side of that thing that I don't like? Oh, that's the thing that I love. That's the thing that I'm for. That's the thing that has a lot of juice. That's the thing that has a lot of juice. somebody was saying that it's anger. Somebody told me, I heard someone speaking about this in relation to Twitter and saying how the reason that Twitter is so powerful is because anger fuels the world. Like anger is what actually drives things. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that I agree with that. I think there's always something that we love underneath something that we hate. There's always, and you never know where a person's coming from when they express themselves. You never know that. And actually, it's because it's both of those things coexist, the love and the hate. So what is something that you have found yourself complaining about lately? Speaking about just like you don't like it. I don't like, or angry about something, or averse to something. Just think of one thing right now that's come up for you. And just hold one. There could be a couple, but just think of one. Okay. And then now that you have this one thing, why is this the case? Is this the case because you love what? This is the case because you love what? What is the opposite of this thing that you're complaining about? What is the opposite of this thing that you're unhappy with? What is the thing that you love? What is the thing that you're really for? The thing that like you feel the juice in your bones getting excited about. The juice in your bones. What's that one thing? Good. And then who do you need to tell about that? Who do you need to tell about that? Who in your life? Is it someone in your family? Is it someone in your work? Is it someone on social media? Is it something related to your business? Is it something on a dating app? Is it, someone close to you that needs to hear it? Who needs to hear it? Who do you want to tell it to? And just note that, this thing that you love. Who do you need to tell about that? And then I want you to think about, just visualize what it would feel like to tell the most important person or people this thing. I want you to visualize that. You going there, doing that, saying that, this is what I love, this is what I'm for. What does that look like? Where are you when you do that, when you say that? Who are you with? And what happens when you say it? What happens? And then what happens? What happens from you sharing that? What does that feel like? What do you notice? What happens? Good. So now you know what you love. You know what you're for. And you know maybe a person or people that you want to share that with. Just one small thing. There's more. There are more things. I know. More things that you love. Just taking one as an example today. So go ahead and hold that in your heart. Hold that in your body. Hold that feeling of what that love is for.
If you are embarking on a fertility journey and are ready to have your mind blown about what your body is really capable of and how it's impacted by the environment, then check out my book, The Ayurvedic Guide to Fertility. You can actually download the introduction to the book for free on my website at heathergrzych.com. That's Heather, GRZYCH.com. Read the intro for free and then buy the rest of this fertility enlightening book pretty much anywhere books are sold. I want to thank you for listening to this show. It brings me great pleasure to provide this content to you. I also want to let you know that I'll be making some very amazing announcements soon. And if you're not already on my email list, then I encourage you to go over to my website and subscribe to my email list so that I can keep you informed about these announcements that are going to be coming up very soon. So my website is heathergrzych.com. That's Heather, GRZYCH.com. And I look forward to getting these important announcements to you very soon and connecting. Thank you for tuning in and dropping in with us today. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. I really want to hear your feedback. To learn more about my work, visit heathergrzych.com. That's Heather, GRZYCH.com. And meet me here next time on The Wisdom of the Body.